Hot off the heels of the box office sensation that is Deadpool and Wolverine, we have now gotten a new showcase of the super exciting, definitely going to resurrect the Marvel Cinematic Universe Disney slate of shows and movies coming out. And this is a sizzle reel of about a minute and 50 seconds. It's pretty short, blink and you'll miss it. I want to know, Rembo, can we put on our best Disney shill face and try to get excited about any of these properties coming up? So they show a very quick sizzle reel, and I'm just going to go down this list, and you tell me if at all you're excited. First, November 12th, 2024, they're showing Deadpool and Wolverine. It's coming back to Disney Plus. You like, generally speaking, Deadpool and Wolverine as much as one could. Will you be rewatching Deadpool and Wolverine on Disney Plus?
No way. That movie is a one-time watch. It will not get funnier on a second watch, and the story and the villain especially will not get better on a second watch. So I think that was a perfect watch it once, enjoy the fun parts, don't think about it too much sort of movie. And that's exactly what I plan on doing.
I did watch it a second time with the lovely Monica Bryant. She hadn't seen it before. First 30
Oh.
minutes is great. After that, it takes a sharp turn downhill once the villain Cassandra Nova shows up. It's still a fairly enjoyable Marvel movie, as much more enjoyable than Phase 4. So take that with what you will. What if season 3? Now, this is an animated show that is somehow made it to its third season. I don't know how much they're spending on this show because it looks like it's a well animated show. I've seen a few episodes. I'm mostly unimpressed with the stories outside of the T'Challa. What if T'Challa was Star Lord? I like that episode as a send off to Chadwick Boseman. What if season 3? You've seen some episodes of What If. Are you at all going to give a gander to What If season 3?
Maybe I'll have to take a deeper look into each individual episode. I think you can. That's the sort of show for me personally that I can. If it's like, oh, that's like an interesting premise, I'll watch that. The only What If comic that I was ever interested in that I've actually never read, but I remember seeing it and being like, that's a fun concept. Was what if the Venom symbiote took the Punisher? That's a fun concept. Just sounds really gory and violent and like fun. So I'm waiting for the what if when that like episode of that, like maybe someone eventually puts that one out. But as a concept, seeing a bunch of what if this person was that, that's kind of the world we're living in right now anyway. What if Tony Stark was a young black female going to MIT? Ironheart. I'm glad you asked. Like that's basically the entire Marvel universe in the movies right now. So it's a little bit ironic.
What if instead of getting on the heels of X-Men 97 at the X-Men Revival series, it seemed like it would lend itself perfectly on the success of that they were going to bring back 94 Spider-Man. But instead, what if we got your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man coming January 29th of 2025 to Disney Plus. Subscribe today and you can get a bundle with Hulu and HBO and all of the fixins that you want. Disney. Use promo code go fuck yourself. All right, you're gonna remove that last part. Anyway, this is a shell shaded looking animated feature of Spider-Man in high school, because Lord knows we have not seen Peter Parker as Spider-Man in high school enough. We need more Peter Parker in high school in the modern era, going against a melanin Osborn. The Green Goblin now is a black dude who, if there's anything that I've always wondered, is what kind of racism did Norman Osborn go through to become the criminal mastermind that is Norman Osborn, who's poisoning the water well for Americans? Are you at
Oh
all
man.
interested in your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, Rambo?
No. I mean, okay, so I guess I gotta say, we shit all over before it came out. We shit all over X-Men '97's animation style, being like, this looks like it blows, it looks terrible, it looks choppy, and then somehow it ended up working. I'm even more confident that this animation style will not work. It looks so dumb. Just make a regular looking cartoon. It's okay. It's if you're not going to commit to something that actually looks good, but like, oh, we got to do something different because that's like the norm now, which is like in the grand scheme of things good, but the idea that I don't know who approved this animation style. I don't know what this is. I don't know what I'm looking at, but I just know that I don't like it and it looks bad. On top of that, yeah. Oh, like God forbid we get 30-year-old Peter Parker who's like established himself. He runs Parker like Industries and has like a family or like some sort of adult dynamic. The idea that we're smashing Peter into this high school box that he just cannot get out of. I don't know why. I don't know when that happened. Where like Peter somehow is now we're only going to use him as a high schooler. I hate that. I do not know why we have to stay with that. It's redundant at this point. I miss swipe left.
They're going for a 60s look. They're going for that Steve Ditko, I mean, a very modernized version of Steve Ditko, Stanley, early Spider-Man. They're trying for that, but it just doesn't work at all. And I just don't understand. To me, the 94 Spider-Man, X-Men, the original X-Men show, Batman, the animated Batman series, those all perfectly hit what a superhero cartoon show should look like. Good proportions, muscular. They all look human though. They all have like decent eyes to head to body ratios. Yes, a little exaggerated to make them bigger, but they're superheroes, and that's kind of the world they live in. Um, when they started doing things like the Ultimate Spider-Man or like the Spider-Man or the Batman where his eyes are like triangles and their bodies are like these weird triangle shape, it's just I don't like that. I don't like that at all. And this to me, the animation and the character design's fine, but when it's moving, it just looks weird. And that's not to say the show couldn't be good, but I just, again, putting Peter Parker back in high school for the billionth time in a live action or animated show to me is unnecessary and doesn't lend itself to new stories that I'm interested in. So maybe, again, like X-Men, if it gets a bunch of hype and people are saying this is the bee's knees, maybe I'll give it a go. But perhaps what will truly save us, Rembo, is a show that you love coming back, which is Daredevil. Daredevil Born Again, coming to our Disney Plus screen, which you can get with a subscription to Disney Plus on March 4th. Will you be watching, returning, and do you have hopes for possibly a dark Disney Plus show in Daredevil Born Again?
I am one stage beyond cautiously optimistic. Like,
Super optimistic.
no, the other way.
You're a step below that. You
Yeah, I'm a
are
step below that.
fighting to be at all optimistic.
I just feel like the quality Disney Plus has put out is very predictable, and this could easily end up just being a She-Hulk Echo like bore fest. But it has all the recipes. It's got Vincent D'Onofrio returning. It has the man, the myth, the legend, Johnny Bernthal returning as the ultimate version of Punisher. Obviously Charlie Cox, and those three guys just by themselves should be able to pull this show into being at least watchable and enjoyable on some level. I'm sure they're going to be fighting the powers that be at Disney and doing their best to make this lame and like focusing on Karen or maybe Foggy. Like how we're going to have an entire episode where it's just Karen and Foggy and their little side adventure. Um, so got hopefully, I'm sure there will be moments. There's going to be some cool one shots. Obviously going to have that where it's Daredevil fighting in a hallway. Punisher, hopefully. I'm just hoping they don't nuke the violent tendencies. If you go back and watch, which is on Disney Plus, but you go back and watch that first season of The Punisher, it's so violent and it's so true to the character, not pulling any punches. The showdown with Jigsaw where he's grinding his face against the mirror, like I highly doubt that they're going to bring that level of intensity to this show, but it should still have some fun stuff. Like it should still be good, good enough to enjoy. That's my reasonable expectation for that show.
Was it season 2 of Daredevil in which the Punisher is in prison and Vincent
Yeah.
D'Onofrio tries to have him killed and he proceeds to kill 20 prisoners? with the last one, he's like the dude's face is on his chest, like it's all bloodied, and he pulls the dude's face like body off of his chest, and it reveals a blood-soaked skull. I mean, those moments of Daredevil, it's worth I mean, the show's great. The show of Daredevil was great. Incredible out of left field, like, oh, Netflix is doing a Marvel show. Like, this is what? That sounds weird, but it perfectly worked. It was a great kind of just crime episodic, mostly with a overarching story. Um, and I really enjoyed that. And I thought they nailed Charlie Cox nails Daredevil. Matthew Murdock, John Bernthal is amazing. Vincent D'Onofrio having his own spin on Kingpin was great, and I know they then shoehorned Kingpin into or not Echo, but actually, no, he was in Echo. He was in Echo, and he was in that Hawkeye show with Chick Hawkeye, and they make him like more cartoonish. So maybe this little show will be good. I will give it a gander. We'll see how it goes. I have no idea what the hell Eyes of Wakanda coming August 6th and coming October 2025. Marvel Zombies, both animated epics. I really don't have any interest in either. Are you a Marvel Zombies guy? Are you at all interested in watching a animated Marvel Zombies end of the world take?
Eh, eh. Of all the different like, I mean, did they not? They did a Marvel Zombie What If episode in the first season of What If.
Right.
So I feel like I already saw it. So I don't need an expanded version of that. I don't need expanded lore on Marvel Zombies. Maybe we're on an island on that one, but that one does not seem to interest me too much.
The last thing rounding out the list. Now, if you watch the promo, which is a minute 50 seconds ish, they show each title screen with the date it's coming out less than a quarter of a second. I mean, you cannot, if you're just watching in real time, there's no way you're going to be like, oh, that's coming out in May. That's coming out in June. It's going to go by so fast, which means I don't think it's on the internet. It's not like they're rushed for time. You're not doing a promo at the Super Bowl. So they had time to let it breathe and tell you exactly when it's coming out so you could absorb that information. But to me, they already know most of these projects, or some of these projects at least, are not coming out next year because their hopes are pinned to like Captain America, Brave New World, the movie coming out February 14th. They are waiting to see how that does. And if that movie tanks at the box office, it's going to throw the rest of the year, the rest of the Disney Plus calendar, Thunderbolts coming out in May, Fantastic Four coming out. It's going to throw things into a tizzy if that movie bombs and there's no excitement, because the fact that they're throwing something every other month on Disney Plus when there's already not a lot of enthusiasm tells me that it is a wait and see attitude. But Wonder Man, which is coming out allegedly, I
Oh,
doubt it, December of 2025, about a movie star guy that is a superhero of some sort. I really don't know much about Wonder Man other than it's funny because originally he's a white guy and then at some point they made him an Asian guy, but in the show he's a black guy. So some people on the internet were being like, how could you recast an Asian man's role as a black guy? And it's like, well, you were already recasting him from a white guy, so potato potato, that's what we do nowadays, so who cares? Anyway, Rambo, any interest at all in Wonder Man?
no. They're bringing back an A-list actor as the worst possible acting version of himself in Ben Kingsley and his iteration of whoever the fuck from Iron Man that somehow for no reason got brought back for Shang-Chi uh in when he was a terrible character in the first place, and now we're like tripling down on that and bringing him in for Wonder Man because you need somebody to anchor a completely like zero ratings show. If you didn't have Ben Kingsley in it, it would just be like it would make no sense. Now that being said, I got to go back and research the original concept of Wonder Man because him being an actor does not ring true in my memory banks at all. I know that Wonder Man is the half brother to the Grim Reaper, and Wonder Man is typically one of the West Coast Avengers. That's the information that I remember off the top of my noggin. Is he an actor and that becomes a superhero, or a superhero that is an actor? I'm super lost. This should have been Nathan Fillion from the get go. That was the original plan, was Nathan Fillion. They had him in a scene that was deleted from Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I think that would have been a lot more fun. I don't know if he would have been so true to the original vibe of the character, but that would have been cool. Unless instead they used him for some random throwaway character in the Guardians of the Galaxy 3. So it's weird. I don't, of all the characters that you could have a show, Wonder Man in this iteration seems strange to me, and I can't imagine it's going to have a whole lot of positive review.
Now, gun to your nuts, out of the aforementioned films coming out, allegedly coming out next year, Captain America Brave New World, Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, if you had to only watch one, which I'm guessing you probably only will watch one, which one would it be?
Captain America?
Oh.
I just I don't believe that this iteration with these with these chosen actors for Fantastic Four is it. I don't believe it. I do not believe Pedro as highly intelligent, super genius. I think the lady cast for Mrs.
Vanessa Kirby.
Fantastic, Invisible Woman.
Vanessa
I
Kirby.
always like saying Mrs. Fantastic because it reminds me of The Incredibles, but no, by Invisible Woman. I don't. I think she's a good casting. The dude they got for Ben, okay, maybe he's a jacked astronaut, but he's not jacked, and maybe he's an astronaut. And then the dude they got for Johnny Storm is just super two thumbs down, not hot at all. We already talked about this on a previous episode, but big miscast in that. Miscast of the century. You go from Chris Evans to Michael B. Jordan to whoever the fuck from Stranger Things. No. So I already don't believe in that. And then, of course, the fact that they had to bring in Robert Downey Jr. to be Doctor Doom is just weird already. It's just so many things are weird. So just give me Captain America. Anthony Mackie is fine. Seeing Red Hulk will be cool. I think I think the Harrison Ford is not a good actor anymore, or at least doesn't care to be a good actor. So I don't think his performance is going to be worthwhile. But they're bringing back Liv Tyler. It'll be kind of cool to see her. They're bringing in the leader, the guy who's playing the leader, which is
the guy from all of the Coen brother movies.
Yeah, what the fuck is that guy's name? He's got a 3-part name. I forget what it is, but so there's some interesting things in there. Giancarlo Esposito's in it. It seems like it's overpacked, but I think there will be some entertaining, fun aspects of that movie. If I had to pick one, I think that'd be it.
I'd go with Fantastic Four just because of the intrigue, the possibility, the third time around. Can they finally have it? It takes place in the 60s, so it's going to have a different look, a different feel, a different era than the MCU movies we've already gotten. So maybe a fresh start like that will lend itself. Galactus, can they show Galactus, the World Eater, being this awesome, badass, fearful or fearsome villain? RDJ, do we get probably a last minute or a mid credit, end of credit scene of him from the back or something like that? Who knows? We'll probably get something like that to tease. But again, if the movie sucks, it's not going to matter if you show Robert Downey in the credits or not. So we'll see. I feel like everything's pinned to Captain America: Brave New World. If that movie does not do well, chaos, panic, fear. How are we going to get our free subscriptions from Disney Plus, a Disney property, or Hulu, also a Disney property, if they won't properly give us access to watch these things early? Pretty slow show for you. And that's that.
Don't we also get female Silver Surfer?
Oh, God.